Okay, well, um, Bill, which one are you seeing? Do you see the one with ChatGPT 101 and practical uses up top?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm on the right one. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. And we want to welcome you to our second quarterly seminar on artificial intelligence. This is called AI for Small Business. And we're just so happy that you're able to attend today. Today's session is hosted by both OAME, the Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs, and SCORE, in this case, SCORE Northwest. If you don't know, SCORE is actually a nationwide network of mentors that really help small businesses. And they have a very active Northwest core staff as well. And so if you have a need for mentoring technical assistance, feel free to reach out to them. They'll be mentioning of that by Dimitri, one of our panelists, a little bit. On the OAME front, or the Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs, for our guests that are visiting today, just know that the Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs, or OAME, is a 35-year-old organization. And we believe in the mission, long story short, to promote and develop entrepreneurship and economic development in the state of Oregon and Southwest Washington. And we highly believe in the mantra of everybody's in, nobody's out. If you come to our two times Friday event every month, we continually reemphasize that. And in the context of technology, we started these seminars because with everybody's in, nobody's out, we want to ensure that no disadvantaged community or small business is left behind. And so we want to present very practical seminars in terms of, in this case, ChatGPT 101 and practical uses. So with that as a quick backdrop, today we have two panelists queued up. First one is Dimitri, second is David. They're going to be talking about ChatGPT 101 and then practical examples respectively. One thing we do want to emphasize in today's webinar is that we're going to focus on very practical uses of ChatGPT. And we truly believe that if we can encourage as many people as possible to use ChatGPT, whether it be for their personal use or their business use, you'll be able to understand AI using ChatGPT as an example to really understand the limitations, the practical uses of artificial intelligence. And after you leave these meetings, you'll be able to gradually make your own interpretation based on the empowerment by knowledge of larger issues like, is AI good? Is it bad? What are the social ramifications? What does that mean for my future job? We're not going to talk about those issues today, but we trust and believe that with this knowledge that you'll gain, you'll be able to come to your own formulation of those bigger, broader questions and not necessarily be swayed one way or the other based on popular media. So with that as a backdrop, why don't we get into it? We're going to go from 7:30 to 8:30. We're going to pass it to the panelists, and then we'll have a Q&A session after that. So with that, Dimi, you want to take it away?
All right. Yes. Let's share my screen. All right. Does everyone see this okay?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. I mean, might as well just get right into it. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to utilize ChatGPT for your business. So my name is Dmitry Vityakov, but you can call me Dima. I'm proud to be a part of SCORE Southwest Washington's marketing team, where I focus on social media. Additionally, I also delve into marketing research and economic development at CRDC. And on the academic front, I'm a triple major at Washington State University, Vancouver, majoring in marketing, finance, and entrepreneurship. Today, I'm just super excited to talk about this. So let me briefly describe what SCORE is. Herb did a good job pitching us, but let me go a little bit deeper. So what is SCORE? SCORE is a remarkable organization that's been the cornerstone for a lot of entrepreneurs for decades now. And since it started in 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million entrepreneurs in various stages of their business, whether you're starting, growing, or even exiting your venture. So with our vast network of over 10,000 volunteers across all 50 U.S. states and territories, we provide valuable mentoring, resources, and education all for free. And these just aren't any volunteers. These people are score mentors. And what that means is these individuals are seasoned business professionals, each bringing a wealth of experience from diverse industries. So whether you're trying to draft your first business plan, strategizing your marketing efforts, navigating finance and accounting, or even looking at growth and expansion, score mentors are here to guide you. So if you're interested, you can go to the SCORE website, and there you can fill out a mentor request form. And based on your needs, SCORE will match you with the perfect mentor. But from there, let's go straight into what we're going to talk about today. So here's a little agenda I put together. And today's presentation will be kind of a hybrid between being in a narrative style and an informative style of our presentation. So what that means is we'll be following our protagonist, Sarah, a small business owner, and her journey in understanding how to best utilize ChatGPT for her business. But during this narrative, we will be taking a few steps back at some moments to really discuss what is going on in the story, such as when we talk about how to actually craft an effective prompt. So before we begin, I was just curious, does anyone here, know what ChatGPT is? Like, how familiar is the audience with this current AI? Okay,
Yep.
so we got some people. Well, even if you haven't used it yet, don't even know what it is, or actually have a little bit of experience, let me explain what it is before we introduce our main character. So what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is a conversational AI model created by OpenAI. And what does that mean? Its primary purpose is to really assist users in a multitude of tasks, making process more streamlined and efficient. So whether you're trying to conduct intricate research, analyze data, or even brainstorm fun ideas like themes for your dog's birthday party, ChatGPT can help you. But for today, our primary focus will be on how ChatGPT can be a true game changer in the business domain. So now you might wonder, great, but why should someone like yourself, an entrepreneur, consider using it? And here's why. So it helps increase your productivity. So a recent MIT study I looked at showed that there was a 37% efficiency boost to ChatGPT. And this is because ChatGPT can automate these tasks that you don't want to do, like reports, emails, and even presentations like this one. So it helps you free up more time for strategic endeavors. And then with informed decision making, because it can automate a lot of things and help you beyond that, it can really give you access to a vast reservoir of information, ultimately aiding you in analyzing complex data sets and giving you that extra level understanding on a topic you don't know. So this can really significantly enhance your decision making, leading to more favorable outcomes for your business. And then finally, it can help you enhance your creativity. It's not just a numbers and data type of thing. It can also really be your creative partner. So it can help you generate innovative ideas, offer solutions to problems in ways you've never even thought of before, and more. And this creative assistance can be invaluable for someone owning a small business because as someone who wears multiple hats, you sometimes need an extra hand. So the basics of it is that ChatGPT isn't just a tool. It's really a versatile assistant that can really revolutionize the way we approach business challenges. All right. So now let's set the stage a little bit. So let's provide a little bit of a visual example of ChatGPT in action. So let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah here is a passionate small business owner who runs a local bakery. Recently, she came across ChatGPT, this intriguing AI chatbot that's been making waves for its ability to respond to virtually any question. And while she's curious about the potential benefits it could bring to her business, she's unsure about where to begin, right? And just like many of us, when we're faced with a new tool or technology, Sarah's eager to learn, but needs a little bit of guidance on how to harness its power effectively. And that's why we're all here today, right? So what was her first interaction like? So like many first-time users, Sarah created an account and posed the AI with a straightforward question. How can I improve my business? The response she received, while it was informative, only covered the basic fundamentals of starting a business. And for someone like Sarah, who was already past that stage, this information wasn't very helpful. She felt that the advice was a little bit too generic and was similar to a basic Google search, right? So this interaction left her somewhat disappointed. So this initial interaction that Sarah had really brings us to the crucial point and really the main theme of my part of the presentation, and that's the importance of context. And this might seem obvious, but it's something I see many first-time users and even more experienced users have trouble with, since most don't understand the length of context they need when prompting. So to give an example of that, let's draw a parallel. So imagine you a small business owner are hiring a top tier marketing specialist for your business. And on their first day, if you simply say, hey, improve my business's marketing, right? What are they going to say? They're probably going to need some more details, right? And without truly understanding the nuances of your business, its goals, your audience, unique selling points, they'd be navigating in the dark. It's like as if you're asking an artist to paint a portrait without seeing the subject. So you need a little bit more context. So similarly with ChatGPT and its vast knowledge, it requires as much context as possible to really deliver its best. And a vague help me with my business won't cut it. So instead, a detailed and more personalized prompt would give you far more actionable and relevant advice. So the lesson from Sarah's experience here is clear. Context is important. It's not just about asking, it's about providing a clear and complete backdrop for the AI to truly understand and respond in a manner that will help you. So while Sarah's initial experience with ChatGPT was a learning curve, by recognizing the importance of context, she decided to approach ChatGPT with a little bit more detail and a more specific prompt. So Sarah took a step back and really took a moment to reflect on her bakery. And she considered its rich history, the unique offerings, the challenges she faced, and the clientele she served. She then crafted this comprehensive prompt for ChatGPT, and I'll read it verbatim. I run Sarah's Sunlit Bakery, a family-owned establishment in Portland known for its traditional European pastries and signature sunlit sourdough bread. Our bakery, established in 1995 by my grandmother, has a cozy vintage ambience with wooden interiors and sunflower-themed decor. Over the years, we've built a loyal customer base of older residents. However, I've observed that we aren't attracting many younger customers, especially with millennials and Gen Z. They seem to be more inclined towards modern, health-conscious options and are more active on digital platforms. So how can I adapt our marketing strategies to appeal to this younger demographic without losing our brand's essence? So what did Sarah do here? She provided this super rich context of what her business is, why she does it, and her history. And she was aiming to get a more tailored response from ChatGPT that was more personalized for her business. It was as if she hired her own marketing specialist to really help her understand how to approach this problem of hers. So the art of asking. So kind of what we just talked about, crafting the perfect prompt is like an art. There's a reason why people are coining the term prompt engineer. It's really about striking a balance between being concise and providing enough context for ChatGPT to understand your needs. So using the prompt that we just talked about, let's delve into the essentials of crafting an effective prompt. And here's a structured approach. So first, from the top left corner, define your objective. So this is where you clearly state your goal. So for instance, I want to improve my online presence would be a good example here. Then provide your background. Offer a brief overview of your context, like I run a family-owned bakery in Portland known for traditional European pastries. Then thirdly, highlight your challenges. So mention specific issues you're facing, such as I'm struggling to attract younger customers on social media. Then you got to state some constraints. So if there are any limitations, be sure to mention them. And what this means is if you say marketing, that's a little bit too broad. So say a specific part of marketing, whether it's social media, and then you can get even more specific there by saying Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook as a limitation. So then you could say, I have a limited marketing budget and I primarily use Instagram. That way you give a framework for the AI. Then one of the most important parts is asking your question. So with your context set, make sure to actually ask what you need. So how can I engage millennials on Instagram without increasing my budget? And then finally, specify your output format. So this can kind of blend in with your questions sometimes, but if you have a preference for your response format, make sure to state it. So if you want a step-by-step strategy, say that. If you want a complete roadmap from point A to point C, ask that. There's multiple ways that it can respond to you. So that structured guideline kind of turns into this outline I created for you. So you say, I aim to, then you define your objective. I'm involved in, then you provide your background. A challenge I face is, then you highlight what your challenges are. Given that, state your constraints. So within that limitation that you want to set, I'd like advice on, ask your question, and then ideally the guidance should be in the form of, then specify your output format. So the more detailed and structured your prompt, the more tailored and actionable the response will be. It's really about getting ChatGPT on the same page as you, understanding your business as intimately as you do. So Sarah's journey with ChatGPT is truly a testament of the power of asking the right questions, right? And that's what we even see in real life today. And after refining her approach, she received actionable advice from ChatGPT tailored to her bakery's unique situation. And so ChatGPT suggested to her, suggesting blending nostalgia marketing with modern trends, introducing health-conscious pastries, and leveraging social media influencers to really reach that millennial and Gen Z target. But Sarah even went a step further. She sought clear steps from ChatGPT on how to actually bring these strategies to real life. Because it's one thing of telling her what to do, but how do you actually do it is another. So from sourcing organic ingredients to creating a marketing calendar for retro brunch Sundays, she was guided in every step of the way. And what was the result? Sarah not only retained her older clientele, but she also saw a significant influx in younger customers. Her evening sales surged and her Instagram engagement skyrocketed by 40% in just a few months, all because of her AI assistant in ChatGPT. So the key takeaway here is twofold. First, it's crucial to seek tailored advice. Second, it's always ask for actionable steps to move from strategy to tangible results. So while Sarah's story is inspiring, ChatGPT's potential extends far beyond bakeries, and its applications span across various business functions. And the magic ingredient always remains the same: context. So like with marketing, just as Sarah leveraged ChatGPT for her bakery's marketing, you can also harness it for content creation, social media strategies, and more. And by painting a clear picture of what your brand is and what your goals are, you can receive advice that really resonates with your audience. Then with data analytics, I mean, do you have a year's worth of sales data you have no idea how to understand? Well, ChatGPT can actually explain your data and say what to do with it. So for instance, if you have a year's worth of sales data and you want to decipher trends for a specific age group between the ages of 18 and 24, ChatGPT can guide you on how to understand that data and even explain it to you. Then with business development, innovate and refine with ChatGPT by your side. So whether you're looking to make your packaging eco-friendly or even brainstorm a new product line, ChatGPT can help you come up with ideas and even explain why or why not to pursue that idea. And then with human resources, so if you need a job description, it can help you write it. So if you want to draft a role for a remote digital marketing specialist for your business, ChatGPT can help you outline those key responsibilities. So whether you're in marketing, HR, product development, or any other business function, ChatGPT can be a true game changer. And their mantra always remains the same: provide detailed context to get the most relevant and actionable advice. So Sarah's journey with ChatGPT offers invaluable lessons for all of us, especially in the realm of AI interactions. So here are the key lessons from the story as a reflection. So first, understanding the challenge. Sarah's initial interaction with ChatGPT mirrors the challenges many face when seeking assistance. And that's knowing that you need help is one thing, but being able to articulate it is a whole other thing. Then understanding the power of context. So Sarah's turning point in the story was her realization about the power of context. It wasn't just about posing a question. It was about setting the entire stage up and giving the AI a comprehensive understanding of the situation. This ensures that the AI doesn't just hear you, but truly understands you. Then finally, with the outcome, with their newfound approach, Sarah didn't just get advice. She got a complete roadmap, a detailed, actionable strategy that led to tangible improvements in her business, from capturing the hearts of younger customers to even boosting her evening sales. So remember, as we navigate the world of AI today, and perhaps even with our daily interactions between people, the importance of clarity, detail, and context cannot be overstated. And these elements are truly the bridge between a generic answer and the solutions tailored to our unique needs. So as a business owner with limited funding, time, and resources, we need to get the most out of putting in less. And for only $20 a month, or even for free, ChatGPT can help you grow and develop your business. So I'm sure many of you have questions. That's it for my part. but I understand that we'll be holding questions until the end of our event, but I'm here to help clarify any doubts or provide any insights when the time comes. So please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Wow, Dima, that was fantastic. Thank you very much. Can we give Dima a hand, whether it be a virtual hand or kind of a
Thank you.
physical
Thank you.
hand here? That was really awesome. Again, thanks for so much time that you spent prepping those slides. As you can see, that was very tight and very informative. There have been a number of requests for you to provide the slides. Would you be able to post
Oh, for
those
sure.
in the
Yeah,
chat
not
box?
only do I have the slide deck available, but I can also provide a worksheet for how to craft a perfect prompt.
Oh, wow. That'd be
Mhm.
awesome. Okay, that's a great resource. And then you can get that link very soon after
Yeah,
this. And
sure.
also on the chat box, as usual, Bill and myself through the OAME office will be publishing all the attendance as well as those links as well. As Dima mentioned, after both Dima and David finish, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. We'll have time for that because we're running right on time. So with that, as Dima has laid the foundation in terms of ChatGPT and very practical uses and practical pieces of advice like context, context, context,
Yeah.
we're going to segue. Yeah, context. It's like buying real estate, right? You go location, location, location. Well,
I feel like I said that
ChatGPT,
like 30 times.
yeah, it's context, context, context. So that's a very good takeaway. Appreciate it, Dima. All right. Well, as we segue into David's portion of the meeting, he's going to use Dima's information as a foundation, and we're going to get into actual additional examples of how to use ChatGPT. So, with that, David, you want to take it away?
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much. And Dima, you teed me up perfectly with that. Context is one of my favorite words. My clients hear me say it all the time. So um, for those of you who don't know me, my name is David Baer. I have been a marketer since the 1990s. In fact, some of you were at the last OAME meeting where you heard me mention the fact that I was a classical music marketer and worked for New York City Opera years ago. I came out here to Oregon to work in the wine business. I ran a Facebook ads agency back starting in 2010. These days, I mentor and teach marketing service providers how to do more than they currently do by becoming trusted advisors in their space. And I've been playing with AI tools since late 2019, back in the days of GPT-2, and we're now up to 4. So let's dig in a little bit to ChatGPT. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing a bunch of exercises here. But before I do, I want to give a little bit of a tour of the platform, just to sort of show you what's possible here. I'm in the paid version, and a lot of what I'm going to show you today are significantly more detailed prompts than the ones that Dima was sharing, because I want you to get a sense of what's possible. I'm going to give you all these prompts at the end of the presentation, so don't worry about following every little element of what I'm showing you, but I want you to understand the general theme and direction that you have the opportunity to go using this tool. But before I think we dig into this, I want to say that ChatGPT is not the only tool out there. There are a lot of other platforms. There are a lot of other large language models. And so if you're using something like Google's Bard platform or Anthropic's Claude platform, which is exceptionally good at data analysis, by the way, or if you're using Bing Chat, which is built on top of OpenAI stuff, those are just as good to be using right now. But we're using ChatGPT simply to give you sort of a starting point. This stuff can apply in lots of different places. All right, so very, very quick tour. If you're using the free version, you are limited to the 3.5 version. It's exceptionally good. It's really fast, but it doesn't have the complex, nuanced thinking that the GPT-4 version does in the paid version. In GPT-4, there's a bunch of different additional options you have here, and I'll give you a few examples. There, you can actually use Bing within here. I don't think it's great, and so I have not really used all that much. I can use this advanced data analytics capability to upload things. Sometimes I can actually even read the stuff that it uploads, but it's not consistent either. But this is a great place if you want to like upload an Excel or a CSV file and have it analyze the stuff that's in there and ask it questions about it, or simply ask, I just gave you this document. Make a list of 5 things you can help me do with this document. That's a great starting point. Okay. There's a whole slew of plugins. We're not going to get into that today, but there's all of these external tools that you can use to interact with ChatGPT. And then finally, they just about 2 or 3 weeks ago integrated their DALL-E image creation capabilities as well. But what I want to start off is over here, the bottom left in your account, you'll see this option. And this is both in the free and the paid version, custom instructions. And I just want to give you a quick glimpse of what this is, because we're going to play around with it a little bit. This is another way to give context outside of just the chat context that Dima was talking about. And so here, there's 2 options here that you can fill in. The first one is, what would I like ChatGPT to know about me, or about what I do, or what I'm looking for, and then how would I like it to respond? I regularly use this one in the how would I like it to respond, and you can see things like, I want it to be organized. I want it to suggest things that are out of the box, that are not necessarily going to be common knowledge, right? I said, treat me as an expert in all subject matters. Again, I'm going to give this to you, so don't worry about what it's saying right now. But I also could use this, and I'm going to swap this out now for a very specific use case, a persona of an individual. So I've chosen, so I'm going to give you this Notion doc here. So you'll see this is my standard custom instructions. Feel free to use it, adjust it. But what I thought might be interesting is if we create a persona of a project manager at a construction company. And so I'm going to drop this. So I have like a little bio. Here's what my current project is. Here are the things I'm interested in. Here are the values: safety, efficiency, timely delivery. Here's my preferred learning style. Here's a little bit of background on me. Here are, tools that I use in my work. Okay. And I'm going to drop that in the what I'd like ChatGPT to know about me. Then in the what I want ChatGPT to, how I want it to respond, things like keep the tone professional and straightforward. On a detail level, go in depth, but don't go off on tangents. Stick to the point. And I'm going to put that in here. And again, you're going to get all of this later. Right. And now I have this on. I'm going to hit save. And if it saves and closes, we can then move on to the next step, which is that I'm going to actually put some prompts in based on its background knowledge of all of this. I can ask it very, very simple things instead of going into a lot of detail the way that Dima was showing you in that individual prompt. I can then ask a simple question like, is LEED certification worth pursuing for my projects, given my focus on efficiency and quality? Whoops. And there we go. My mouse jumped to the other screen. Here we go. And so I can ask that. Oops. And I did it in the DALL-E. It doesn't really matter. But in the background, you can see it also, I'm just mousing over this, has all of that additional context, right? Our favorite word of the day, in the background to be able to add to that question. So even though my question was a very, very simple one, it's following my instructions about how I want the response to come out, right? It's giving me the key takeaways in short, snappy sentences, organized with bullet points, and then it's giving me much more detailed analytics or analysis in terms of the way that it's answering the question. Is that making sense to folks? All right, I'm seeing enough nodding that I'm gonna move on to my next point. Now I can ask lots of other questions. Let me grab another one just to give you a sense of the types of things that we could be asking, because I could ask pretty much anything, right? So I'm just going to stop the response here and drop in another question. I need a plan to ensure safety compliance across a multilingual workforce. You have ideas? Now, again, it knows what I do because I'm a project manager at a construction company, and it's going to start giving me answers to the question that I asked with the additional context of all of that background that I dropped in the custom instructions. Okay. we can sit here and look at the answers, but I'm going to move on because I got a lot of other stuff to show you, and I'm going to give you these prompts to play around with yourself. So I'm going to go back into the custom instructions, and I'll just shut it off completely so that it's not interfering with anything else that we do going forward. I'm going to jump into a new chat. And the next thing I want to talk about is how I like to use ChatGPT for problem solving. So we're going to jump back over here to the sample documents that I gave you, or that I will be giving you. And I'm going to talk about a welding company. And the question that they want to ask ChatGPT is basically summarized here. Now, I have a lot of sort of broken down sections of this prompt. The first one is giving it a little bit of context around the role I want it to play. So basically, I'm saying I want you to be an executive business analyst and growth strategist, because that's going to give me better information just by telling it you have specialty knowledge in this area, right? I then can ask it my questions. So I'm the owner of a specialized welding company, and I have a team of 8 professionals. I then go on to say I'm in the Portland market. Here's my experience and where I've worked. Here's my goal. I want to double my workforce, and I want to be able to grow, but there's a lot of competition in my space. What other areas beyond the construction area that I've been focusing in might I consider working? And then I give it the details of how I'd like it to answer. Very similar to what I just showed you in the custom instructions, but here I'm giving it in the instructions here. So I'm saying that I want you to break things down. I want you to give me a SWOT analysis of each of the results, and I'm going to go ahead and just run that. So you can see that I've here's my question, here's how I'd like you to answer, here's why this is important. I'm asking it to do things like I want it to be bespoke, not generic. I want you to really think about my specific situation, right? So marine welding and ship repair. And then it's going to give me the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and I've forgotten what the T is. Threats. There we go. So again, making sense to folks. Are you sort of following along? Okay, great. And in interest of time, I want to jump on to another example because we can keep going. But one of the other ways I really like using this tool, and by the way, it does this with annoying frequency recently for me. I'm getting these network errors. So usually when this happens, I will simply just click regenerate, and it'll go ahead and hopefully not do that the second time. So another thing that I really like to do is use ChatGPT or these other tools as sort of a back and forth conversation. And I have set this up for analyzing data, but also for coaching me or coaching my clients through a process, a question that we have. So the example that I'm going to give you now, again, also on this document, is a revenue generation performance coach. And it's a very similarly structured question. I'm saying you're an interactive performance coach. You're going to ask me these questions, and then I'm going to ask you to give me some guidance or instruction based on my situation, based on my answer here. So go ahead and drop that question in. And the question that I've told it to ask me is, what's my primary revenue generation goal for the month? On a scale of 1 to 10, how well am I doing in reaching that? And what's the biggest challenge that I have? Okay, so the answer that I'm going to give here, because it's now repeated the question, I'm going to very simply say, I want to get 35K for November. I'm really not doing too well. I'm only at a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, and I don't have enough bids out. And there don't seem to be very many opportunities available in the market right now. So I'm trying to get advice. What do I do? Right? Great. Well, thanks for sharing. And now I set this up so that it can give me advice on a bunch of different fronts. And so it's saying, do I want guidance, empathy, inspiration? So I'm going to just say, number 1 is guidance on the list. All I need to do is click 1. And now it's going to give me the guidance. Right. Again, I set it up in the original prompt to tell it this is what you do next. Ask me, do I want the guidance or the empathy or the inspiration, etc. And so now it's a back and forth where it can now help me move toward making decisions based on my situation and I can continue to have this dialogue on an ongoing basis with it. So this is some, again, advanced ways for you to use these tools that you can work toward, but I wanted you to get a sense of what's possible well beyond the simple sort of give me some ideas for marketing or write me a Facebook post kind of stuff, because it has tremendous capability to help you think through problems, answer questions, think outside the box, etc. So I think I'm going to stop there, and I know that we'll have plenty of time for discussion and Q&A at this point. So guys, thank you very much, and I will be dropping a link to those prompts in the chat in a moment.
Oh, great. Thank you, David. Another wonderful presentation. Can we give David a virtual hand or a handshake or a clap? That's awesome, David. And then, Dima and David, you guys are awesome. We're just right on time, actually a little bit early. And last time we had a lot of questions, and I'm sure that's going to be echoed this time as well. Perhaps what we can do, if everyone can help us out, if you do have a question, if you can begin posting those in the chat, that would be really awesome. And then we can go through those. And while we're waiting for people to post, I think I failed to mention earlier that we are recording this session. And so this is going to be available to folks. And Bill, maybe we can post those on the website, or David and Dima, you can come up with a good technology-oriented way to share those to folks.
I will be talking to David real quick about this. We've already talked about it before.
Yep, happy to help.
Okay, that sounds good. And while we're waiting for folks to ask the questions on the text, I think obviously it's becoming very obvious that the breadth and the way that you can apply ChatGPT transcends all industries, different roles, and so it's really amazing. Maybe we'll open it up for options. Okay, there we go. Here's a question from Stephanie. Why would we pay $20 a month for ChatGPT as opposed to using the free version?
Do you mean you want to take that one, or you want me to? You're muted. Okay.
Do you have any data on that? Because I mean, the big difference is obviously it goes from 3.5 to 4, but the ultimate value you gain from it is the access to not only just a smarter AI model, but also you get access to a vast library of plugins that allow you to do things you wouldn't normally be able to do with ChatGPT 3.5. The most common one I love to use is the PDF reader. Super simple, but it works really well, especially when I don't want to read a 30-page case study in my classes. I'd rather just get a quick summary. But are there any other plugins that you'd recommend, David?
Just a reminder, we're recording this, so I'll be sending that clip to your professors. Anyway.
Oh, they know. They tell us to do it.
Yeah, I would say that when I showed the drop down of all of the things under 4, that's not available in the free version. The free version is going to give you access to quick responses, mostly around sort of research stuff is where I find that's best. As soon as I'm getting creative, like the stuff that I was demonstrating, it is not capable of that kind of layered, detailed question and thinking through a problem. I've done a bunch of demos where I've asked the same question in both 3.5 and 4, and the quality and capability of nuance, understanding of nuance, and delivery of detail is not really there in 3.5 to the extent that it is in 4.
Herb, let me just jump in real quick. And if people have questions, please hit the raise your hand button down at the bottom. We can see that you're waiting for a question to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, there aren't too many posts, so yeah, I think that's a great idea, Bill. We can just do that. Nicholas, we saw your post as well as your hand there. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I am somebody that pays $20 a month. I see it more also as a way to just invest in the technology. You're supporting them to get more compute, more capability, and so it's just making the system better as a whole, and we're getting something in return. So that's how I would answer your question, Stephanie. And I'm not sure if you guys agree with me as well. I would also say that this is just a general purpose technology. and we can take advantage of that. It literally serves for anything you wanted to do, as long as you are specific and you follow Dimas and David's advice on how to generate those prompts. But just play with it. Try to go with it as much as you can. Talk to it as if it was a kid. That's how you learn how it works, how it can develop yourself and your business. But it's great to see many people interested in this, and hopefully there's more people jumping in.
Can I
Nicholas.
make a follow-up
Go ahead,
to
David.
what Nicholas just said there? Because I think something that we've all gotten in the habit of, I'm curious to see how many of you, just put a yes in the chat, use Google once a week or more. When you have a question, do you turn to Google or something similar if you're not using Google and you're using, right, once a week or more? Apparently Curtis is the only, no, okay. Now we're starting to get some answers, right? Well, Google is really, really capable of answering certain types of questions for us. But as you've just seen, ChatGPT and all of these other AI platforms are capable of answering a different type of question, a much more specific question. And so my suggestion to you, based on something Nicholas just said, is put it on your phone, keep it in your pocket, use it on a daily basis for simple questions, even just personal questions like, some advice on what to do when your kid won't go to sleep. That kind of stuff is great because you don't have to sit in Google and click on each website. Oh, that one didn't answer it. I got to go back, and it can get you to the answers you're looking for much, much faster. And so I would say get in the habit of adopting this technology for things that you're doing on a regular basis. Let it help solve the problems that you're currently dealing with in your daily activities, in your daily life, professionally and personally.
That's great. And then Haragu, appreciated your question in the chat. Haragu asked the question, where can I get a reliable link to download ChatGPT? And Dima, thanks for your response in the chat. If anyone else has that question, please look for the chat. Dima just posted a link. Let's see, any other questions or questions we missed on the chat?
Yes, I have. I think I posted it, but it was just a quick question. This is
Yeah, go ahead, BJ.
There are two things which stand out of this discussion. Fantastic presentations, by the way, Dima and David. The question is, what I'm taking away out of this webinar is the structured way of even creating the prompts. That is the big thing, because otherwise you put garbage in and garbage out, as the old adage goes. So where would one get such templates, to ask the question? So that's question number one. And the second is more specific, which is, what is Jasper? I mean, I keep hearing that word or the technology.
David, have you used Jasper before? I haven't had
I was user number 147 of Jasper. Back then it was called conversion.ai. Then they changed their name to jarvis.ai. Then they got a cease and desist letter from Marvel, and they changed their name to Jasper. But there we go. So let me explain what Jasper is. And Jasper is came up on the last call that we did. It is one of many, many, many tools that are built on top of the technology that we see here from OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and other places, to make it sort of more accessible to the business owner. Its focus is entirely on marketing type tools, right? So marketing, messaging, building out content for emails or for social media or for other purposes related to marketing messaging. But it's limited in that scope in terms of its general intent. It could be used for other capabilities, but it sort of has to be jerry-rigged to do a lot of those other things that we were just looking at today in terms of feedback, advice, guidance, that sort of thing. In terms of the template question, there's an endless number of highly useless templates out there The best template is the type of stuff that we've been talking about in terms of understanding what you want to get out of it, figure out the components that you need to include to get the best outcome that you're after, and use. I mean, I've been around OAME to know there's a lot of smart people, right? Vijay, you got a brain that could think through, what do I need to tell this to get the answer I'm after, and that's probably the best way to approach it from my perspective. Is we don't want to dumb it down by saying fill in the blank, because it's not allowing us to think through how to actually interact most effectively with it.
I think the question, David, I asked is because, as you know, OAME group is multilingual, and there are a lot of problems people have, just the language problem itself. In terms of building a right syntax in a question or in a prompt, what some of us would experience is, what's the best way? Sometimes in the world, as we know, the way to be very simple is the most hardest thing. And so just the way you both shared the kind of the initial kind of the context question template, I would call it template. That's what I'm kind of asking. So because it's hard to write simple English, to tell you the truth. I mean, that is a fact.
Yeah. So here, I just want to show you something that I just asked ChatGPT. How many languages do you know? I can understand and generate text in multiple language, including but not limited to, and I don't remember exactly what the number is, but I think it's like 126 languages. So English is not the only language that you could be using here.
Oh, I will say that from personal experience, if I'm quickly typing, I misspell a lot of words and my grammar is terrible, it still understands. Like it's really smart. Like I can write like whole essays and none of it makes sense, and it was able to put it together about like the context I'm trying to provide before asking a problem. So don't worry about syntax, don't worry about context, unless you're truly not using letters that are in a language, then it'll be fine.
Okay, great. So we have another couple questions queued up. Marilyn, I think you had your hand up. Did you have a question, Marilyn? You got to unmute there.
No, I was just typing in an agreement with something that was said.
Okay.
I didn't mean to do a hand. Sorry.
My bad. I'm
but
sorry.
This is a great presentation. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yes. And Nicholas, did you have another question?
I just wanted to also say that also researching into the OpenAI website would be a great start. I know they have a bunch of educational resources for you to just go through it. They try to explain it in the best way possible. I'm trying to find the link, but I'll paste it on the chat link, so you guys can reference to them. They're the creators.
Okay, sounds good. And then we have about 12 minutes left. I don't see any additional questions, but one thing that David Deem and I were talking about is, what are you guys thinking about doing a live demo from someone from the audience here? Does that sound good? Okay, there's a little bit, from a webinar standpoint, sometimes people don't want to do that because it might go a little fuzzy, but this is OAME, so we're an entrepreneur organization. Does anyone have like a business problem or a question that they would like to ask from a small business perspective? Come on, someone has to have one.
Yeah, I can go ahead, or I have no shame or asking if it's okay with you. But
okay, go ahead, DJ.
Well, my question lately is to find employees who are qualified in my expertise. Yeah, and the best employees which I can find, because our business is small, and the type of project sizes are small, they are intermittent, so I cannot hire generally full-time employees, and perhaps I do not even want to grow the business too big. So the question in my mind is that how to find employees who are qualified and also who can be willing to work part-time. Our business can work entirely remotely for the most part, and the best employees which I have seen so far are those who are either retired, those who need extra income, those young mothers who want to spend some time with the kids or the family, but also want to stay connected with the profession. The third is the retired veterans, or those people who want to come back into the workforce. And those who are in between jobs, or those who have a full-time job, but they still want to earn extra income. So these are the criteria of people who best suit our company. And but it is very hard because of COVID. I'm not finding people who are qualified. Either the wages are too high, or they are not easily found.
Okay, great. Thanks for that example, Vijay. David or Dima, you want to take that away? Who wants to do that?
I'm starting to work through it, but Demon, you have something ready to go? I'm building a prompt right now.
Okay.
You can build the prompt. I guess I'll just ask some questions. So,
Good.
can you describe a bit more what that perfect employee looks like?
Yes, I can try. The perfect employee is a person who has minimum 2 to 3 years of AutoCAD Civil 3D experience or MicroStation platform experience. The person should have experience ideally in transportation industry or infrastructure industry, engineering. Among engineering, it's more of civil, structural, geotechnical engineering. The person should be able to work no more than, or at least up to 20 hours a week. And the person can be working anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter. Ideally in the US. What else? Okay, one of the best ones is that the person who has a certification, something what is called EIT, engineering in training, that is ideally preferred, I would say. Not necessary, but it's ideally preferred. The person need not have the hardware, what do you call, infrastructure, because hardware and software we provide them. I think that's fair. I mean, there could be plenty more, but just off of my head, just kind of.
Did you get all that, David? Because I can ask another question even.
Yeah, fill the time for me. I'm typing furiously here.
Sure. Yeah. What about so what would success look like? You described what the perfect person looks like, but what would be success? What would you define as successful if you found that person?
Well, what would the success be? What would the success look like? Is that what your question is?
Yeah. So let's just say you found something similar to that person. Is that what would that look like to you? It's just finding it where.
Success is hard to answer that right off, but success will look like I will have less anxiety of meeting the deadlines of my projects.
Okay.
Or I would be more responsible to my clients, because when I have lack of employees in time, that just is, first of all, it's a big headache, because contractually I am obligated to kind of perform the work. But when you have lack of employees, or if you have unreliable supply of talent pool, that is a big no-no. And success is somewhere I don't have to worry about having an abundant supply of people who I can rely to. If not one person, the other person is available. That sort of a thing.
And what is your actual question? Is it about where to find this person, or
how
to find this person?
Yes, both.
Both, okay.
All right, so I haven't used everything you've given, and I can you just Vijay, give me like the name of what you do? I know what you do, but
we are in the drafting service business and 3D modeling business. And in general context, it's called CAD drafting, CAD.
Yep. Okay. I'm leaving some of that stuff out, and I'm misspelling stuff kind of intentionally to prove the point that Dima made earlier. So first thing I did was I gave it the same context. You're an expert in HR and employee recruiting. Expert means you have a lot of experience, and you please give me unorthodox and lesser known ideas. Now I'm giving context. I'm looking for creative ways to find new employees in my organization, which specializes, misspelled, in drafting services and 3D modeling, who can work part-time, but COVID-19 and the shift in the way people like to work after the pandemic has made it hard to find qualified people at the right pay rate. Perfect employees, again misspelled, doesn't matter, at least 3 years in AutoCAD or similar experience, has experience in civil engineering and transportation. I know I'm not reflecting exactly what you said here. I was just typing as fast as I could, and I'm talking as fast as I can too, apparently. Ideally in US, but can be remote, certified in EIT. I'm not telling it what EIT means because I want to see if it can figure it out from context. They don't need hardware or software. I provide that. Okay.
And if you want to add, make more specific AutoCAD Civil 3D, let's see what it does. Because a bunch of them know AutoCAD, but very few people really are expert in 3D.
Oops. Is that where you want me to?
There's no space in between the 3 and the L.
Okay. All right. And then the task, very simply, please give me 10 outside the box ways to attract and retain capable part-time employees. That's all I'm asking for now. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah,
how well it does.
Okay.
Herb, I think there's a job for you there.
What's that, Bill?
I said, I think there's a job for you there, Herb.
Now, some of these are good, some of these not so good.
Okay. As we're going through this example, David, we should do an offline because OAME is searching for an executive director. We can maybe do something analogous too.
But I want to go back and sort of talk about fairly straightforward, right? All we did was we took the information that was in your brain already, and we put it in some structure here. Here's who you are. You have expertise in this area, right? Here's the problem I'm trying to solve. Here's some additional information. Here's what I want you to do. Now, I would probably go through and look at these answers and say, oh, you know what? I need to change the way I asked this a little bit. Maybe I'll go back and ask it again now that I've seen what it's given me the first time.
I see.
But there's some interesting things in here. Like, maybe tapping into communities that you hadn't thought of that you have access to. Or I love the virtual hackathon thing where you might attract people who have certain capabilities, right? And you can then identify people who might graduate to wanting to work with you, right?
Let me ask a quick question. That first sentence you put in, David, says you are. So you're telling Chat3GPT what their qualifications have been. They're acting as a 20-year HR person or whatever.
That is correct. I am assigning a role to the AI saying you have this very specific area of expertise. And this goes back to Dima's example with Sarah. The very first question gave no context whatsoever. So it got the broadest answer possible. Right. But as soon as she refined and got more specific with what she was asking, you didn't, Dima, give the example of using roles. But this is a way that you can say, narrow the focus of what you're considering in your answer by your area of expertise.
Great. That's a good question. Let's see. So we have 2 minutes remaining. And so we want to end on time at 8:30. I guess as a final note, David, Dima, can you give us a couple sentences each in terms of just a final takeaway or one summary sentence? David, we'll start with you.
Wow, that one sentence is just start using it, make mistakes, fail forward, I guess is what I would say, because this is ultimately where business and where our world is headed right now. And Turb uses the phrase that we don't want you guys to be left behind. But I think if you start training yourself to think and act by embracing this technology, you'll see that you can this is like the longest run-on sentence ever. now I have to like donate to this to the scholarship program. Great.
Great.
But I think what you can see is
Okay.
that you can then take your personal role in your organization and focus on higher purpose things while offloading a lot of the heavy lifting stuff to AI.
That's great, David. Okay, Dima, one last thought.
Yeah, what I would say is ChatGPT is a virtual assistant that knows everything and can do everything for only $20 a month.
There you go. It's even
So
it's
it doesn't
arguably
get
less
better than
than
that. It's better than
yeah.
paying $80,000+ a year for one person that knows one thing.
Yeah, it's actually about the price of Netflix, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, it's 8:30. We want to end on time. We appreciate everyone for coming. Could we give David and Dima one last hand? Thanks for all the time and preparing and what you did for us today. We will be planning future AI events as well, so please look forward to that.
Are you sending the link for this recorded, Herb?
Yes, we will be preparing the link. That's a good question. So we'll be editing the video just for that learning segment, and we'll be providing that.
Wonderful.
Hope, can I ask a quick question, Hope?
Yes, we're at time.
I know. Just
you got to pay to the youth conference, okay, Benki?
A thought for the future. I think most of the professionals knows what to look for, whatever the AI gave that answer. Most of the common professionals will know that. Even Vijay is looking for experienced professional. My question is there any AI we can give you the better answers for the experienced professionals? Like experience,
okay.
like Vijay.
So Benki, let's do this. We're at 8:31. Let's officially close this meeting. And so for those that need to get going to a meeting, feel free to exit and look for a notice for the next quarterly one. With that, Venki, I think we can just stay on and have an offline discussion on that. And for those interested, feel free to stay on. Go ahead, David. David, did you catch that question?
Can you say it one more time?
My question is, most of the HR professionals like Vijay or myself or many people in the audience, they know what they are doing. Whatever the AI give the answer, they already knew the answers. It's nothing surprise to me. The answers are very standard, very basic. Like Vijay is looking for experienced professionals. Whatever they're getting the students from the college will not cut. Right. So what my question is, my understanding of OpenAI is it gives a journey. If somebody's new kid in the block want to know, it'll give you the standard looks something fantastic. Experienced professional, it did not excite me at all because I knew already those things. Right? My question is there, if I tell AI I'm an experienced HR professional, experienced CAT professional, I'm looking for something which I did not know. The answer it gave me did not give me that answer because I already knew all those answers. That's my impression of OpenAI. It gives a generic information. Most of the people, even whether they're in this industry or not, they knew those answers by default. This is my opinion. I mean, since you are an expert, I want to get some other answers which I did not know before.
Yeah, I could start off by saying what David put in, that initial prompt, I wouldn't roll with that. What I would do is that's just the start off. That's the introduction.
Okay.
So you build off of what the AI then tells you. So you wouldn't just use those 10 examples. You'd ask more. So let's just say, what was the one that you were talking about? The hackathon one. You could just simply ask, tell me more about that. How would I do that? What are some different ways I could go about approaching this situation or this problem? So you always want to build off of it. And eventually you're going to reach a point to where like, wow, this is a lot more nuanced and a lot more things I didn't really consider. And even as an experienced person like yourself, it actually can benefit you that way because as you can see, you know all this stuff already, and it just proves that it works because it's saying stuff that you already know. But not everyone knows it that way. So it really just determines which function you approach first. And that's why it's beneficial for people that don't know that side of the business function.
Gotcha. I understand that.
So to follow up on that point, right, I could simply ask, these answers are too simplistic. Give me something that's that's less obvious to a highly experienced HR professional. And now it's giving me blockchain verified CVs.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't even know what that is.
So yeah, it is a dialogue. Use it as a dialogue and say, no, you got it wrong. Here's what I'm actually looking for, and you can go deeper.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
That means that nobody knows what is meant by block. I don't know what is meant by blockchain verified service. No idea. Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a thing, but
Yeah.
I.
But-
It
Oh, and
looks.
then
It looks
Damon and
nice in
David,
the
can I add one thing to it? And I think Vinky, it relates to what you're asking too. I'd actually asked David this question earlier this week, but um, it's got to do with the use of PDFs and loading PDFs. And there's many ways to go with this question, but I was asking, I think, Google Bard a question in reference to a construction specification. And it gave me a general answer, just like Vinky, what you were describing. And so in this instance, what I did was I actually downloaded a PDF that was the full construction specification in the division I was asking it in. And I knew that it was a vetted source. And so then I uploaded that into ChatGPT and forced it to respond using that construction specification Bible, if that makes sense. And so that's just an example of how you can narrow down and get more and more focused on a particular answer you're interested in.
Did you get the answer what you wanted, Herb?
Yes, I did, and I
Okay.
knew it was correct because it was answering solely based on that information. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
One of
And
the
so, yeah,
one
you
of the
can do that.
plugins, Herb, that I use most often in ChatGPT is something called consensus search.
Mm.
And it's there's something like 200 or 300 million peer-reviewed scientific papers in there that it has in its database to be able to go through. And so there's lots of great resources like what you've just described to be able to get research done effectively through this tool. It's often not using ChatGPT in its raw fashion like this. So yeah, figuring out what additional resources there are could be quite useful.
Yeah, because Venki brings up an excellent point that if you're using ChatGPT, you discover this in terms of a concern of the actual accuracy of the information. If I were going to put a number on it, I would say 70, 80% accurate, which is why even ChatGPT, it's very difficult to replace the human brain, right? In our specific niche of expertise and sector, it just won't do it. And you begin to find that there are limitations for AI very quickly. But having the human minds that we do, we can augment that, if that makes sense.
Right
So,
now, I think
Herb, taking up, just following up on that cue, I have heard or read that some certain platforms also have access to world's libraries, because normally when we are in question of checking the accuracy of the data, we eventually tend to, go to the library, see, if it is true, or at least rely best as we can based on what the libraries offer. So is there a platform which accesses most libraries or all libraries, or is there such a thing?
I would even say that its current state is almost like that already.
Oh, it is?
Because just imagine like all the libraries, all the professional articles out there, and you don't have time to read through all of them, but you have a very specific question, you don't know where to start. That's what ChatGPT is.
Yeah. And then, Dave, if I can add to that, and BJ, this is my personal opinion, but we live in a world where sometimes it's assumed that someone that's published something in a book, it's accurate. I don't think that's the case, right? And so that's where I think there has to be a high level of interaction. If you're on the quest for the truth, you need to, in my opinion, need to vet the source. And then that's what I do. And I use a vetted source and the publication, and I upload that in the ChatGPT. That ways, you're kind of the master of the AI tool. You're forcing it to answer your question based on this source. So it's like a closed loop, right?
Yep.
And I think these are some of the things that our body here will be able to begin to self-answer as you begin to understand the limitations.
Very good point. Yeah.
You have to be aware that ChatGPT in its raw form is not currently connected directly to the internet. The closest that we've been able to get to that is probably Bing Chat, which sort of interacts with a search while it's doing. Bard doesn't do an interaction with the search, that can be a subsequent step. So there's what's been referred to as hallucination in the answers that ChatGPT gives, because it's always confidently telling you an answer. Sometimes that's not correct, and it will, even if you say, can you cite the source, it'll give you a link that it's completely made up to an unexisting web page, and you click on it and you get a 404 and you go, oh, I guess they took the page down. No. ChatGPT made that up. So you need to approach it kind of with the knowledge of, this is a tool, it's getting me just so far, I got to do some additional legwork, like Herb said.
Mhm.
And one last question, I think, is that, when it comes to choosing the platform, like earlier, both of you alluded to the fact that there are hundreds perhaps of different type of chat, or these AI platforms available, the Chat GPT being one of probably the leading most. But I also have heard this Claude, the by Anthropics, which you referred to. Is there a kind of is there like a preferred platform for solving specific type of questions versus the other platform does better for that? I mean, I don't know how to give it best analogy, but a hammer is a hammer. That some hammers can be, ultimately used only for tacks, versus some of them can be for big nails. So, is there a kind of a suggestion or nuance to that a ChatGPT is better for engineering or construction, or I mean, I'm just making it up, but
yeah, so it's actually the LLM, the large language model, that's behind these interfaces, that is continuously being further developed and changing. Claude has been shown to be sort of the most effective in analyzing data, and in part that's because it has what's called the context window, which is how far it can look back. It has the capability of looking farther back and having a larger context window than any of the other platforms. And so it can analyze more information in one answer than anything else. Bard is considered better at math and numbers than any of the other platforms. ChatGPT 4.0, the GPT-4 or 4V, I guess, is now the latest one, is more capable of nuance and detail in terms of interpreting language. But this is a moving target. It's changing every day. We're going to get X.AI from Elon Musk's company. We're going to get Meta has Llama 2, and they're about to reveal something later on or early next year. Google has a new project called Gemini that they are probably going to launch in December or January, and we're at the very beginning. So
yeah, that's good.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, what a great discussion. I don't know if you guys watch 60 Minutes, but there's 60 Minutes, the main segment, and there's 60 Minutes overtime. Well, this is AI overtime. It's been a great discussion.
I like that.
So thanks for triggering that, Venki.
You're welcome.
Great. Okay, well, we do need to let Dima and David going to respect their time as well. With that, thanks for attending today, and we'll meet everyone back at the next quarterly event.